and to the ASA conference and AGM for 2023. Some of you come a long way, some of you come a short way, but you're very welcome. And we hope the 2 days of events will give some strength to the ASA and the FABC. We know there are quite a few people who are going to join by YouTube and Zoom from around Australia. We've made the agenda specifically strong to try and create the items that the monastic and the lay community want to grow Buddhism in the next 10 years. If there's anything you need while you're here, please come to me. We've been blessed at the monastery. I think there were 27 volunteers helping yesterday. The transport crew, the food crew, the accommodation crew, we're all very grateful. Those have been helping with the media and the setup. So I extend a warm welcome to you. I'd like to ask the Most Venerable Tikuan Ba to welcome you on behalf of Sakyamuni, and then I'll take you through a little bit of the program before we start. Please ask any questions that you have during the day. We're going to keep a record, and this is for the benefit of all of us going forward. Most Venerable, thank you.
Okay. First, I'd like to pay respect to all the senior Mahasangha, and Venerable Senior Bhikkhuni Sangha, and all the lay members and friends. And again, like Venerable Acharya Mitaji said, you are very welcome here again for the third time when we can host an ASA AGM. This time I have more volunteers to help. That's why things become a bit better than last time. It's still not perfect, of course, far away from, but we try our best. Yes, I understand that to keep this ASA, just keep progressing service in the Sangha community and the general Buddhist community in Australia is very important. Particularly, we try to be the voice for all people in Australia call themselves Buddhists, because there are so many issues that we have to represent, even unofficially, for the whole community. And that's why I try very hard to work with Ajahn Brahm from beginning to form this up and a few others. And we were lucky to see other Venerable Bhikkhuni just arriving. Seemed to me that our friend, and people just keep meeting together once a year around the country. And before I give the microphone back to Mitaji, please forgive us if anything short, anything not good, and anything error met by me and my volunteers to all of you throughout the day and tomorrow, then please give us an excuse us. Thank you so much for welcoming and stay for a night or two. You will welcome stay further up because we have plenty of room, vacant room anyway. We can enjoy a week or month here, never mind. Yeah, from beginning, from my early year of my setting up here in Canberra, late 83, I had already declared this place had to be open to all Sangha, all lay people, or everyone else too. If we could share anything, we will share. That we had tried to do that ever since. Thank you so much. And we may have all good health and happy and harmony and peace during the next 2-day deliberation or ceremony. Thank you. Thank you, Venerable.
That's all good. I would like to open the ASA AGM on May the 11th, 2023. I would like to welcome all those who are in attendance this morning. Thank you very much for being here, whether you are here in person or online. Thank you for joining in. So I welcome new members in this last year, full and associate members. Thank you very much for being part of this community. The apologies are from Venerable Due, Venerable Akchala, Venerable Tsering Wangchuk and Venerable Artisila. So my thoughts go out to them and wishing that they could have been present.
Can I just double check that every monastic in attendance who's an ASA member has signed the form? Because I will rely on that as the attendance record. Is there anybody that needs still to sign it? Okay, and Venerable Wasaga, just looking at you, you've got a record of those monastics that are on Zoom? Thank you. So we rely on that for the record. Thank you, Chair.
So the minutes were emailed to all members on the 20th of April, 2022 and no, 2023.
Yes, thank you.
I've kind of got my glasses on. Okay. And copies can be sent electronically if needed during the meeting, if you require those. We also have some copies here.
There are copies on the table of the last minutes, the Chair's report and the Treasury report on that central table there in front of the flowers, if everybody would like one.
So I'd like someone to accept the minutes of the last AGM.
Venerable Cherky proposes. Thank you. Venerable Cherky, seconder, please. Thank you. Venerable Bonyam Sanim.
So business arising from the 2022.
Sorry, you just have to ask the room. They've all accepted.
Has it all been accepted?
Aye.
You can tell this is my first time. So business arising from the 2022 minutes, and there are none expected.
Does anybody have an issue with the minutes or want to bring up anything that they saw in the minutes?
No.
Okay.
So the Chair's report, which I would like to read out. So as current Chair of the Australian Sangha Association, I acknowledge, celebrate and pay my respects to the Ngunnawal people of the Canberra region and recognise any other people or families with connection to the lands of the ACT and region, to their elders past, present and emerging, and to all First Nations Australians on whose traditional lands we meet and work, and whose cultures are among the oldest continuing cultures in human history. I also pay my respects to the Buddhist leaders in the ACT, as well as Australia-wide, both monastic and lay members who work toward the betterment of their communities. Thank you. I've had the privilege of acting in the role of Chair for the past year and have been supported by my exceptional committee on many levels. It has been a big year for the ASA. Venerable Thupten Choki, Vice Chair. The Venerable has been very supportive and has stepped in and led our committee meetings when needed. Thank you. The Venerable is also the Vice President and Spiritual Advisor of Sakyamuni Australia and has kept the committee informed of events happening in Australia and overseas. Venerable Choki was instrumental in getting the ASA involved in the signing of the joint resolution on the Uluru Statement from the Heart. Our signing of the statement was acknowledged by Prime Minister Albanese. For those who may not have read the joint resolution text, on this day in 2017, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples came together at Uluru and asked Australians to walk with them toward a better future. Through the Uluru Statement from the Heart, Indigenous Australians asked for constitutional recognition through a constitutionally guaranteed voice in their own affairs. As leaders representing diverse religious communities, we declare our support of the Uluru Statement and its call for a First Nations voice guaranteed by the Constitution. We endorse this reform as necessary, right and reasonable. Indigenous Australians must now be afforded their rightful place in the Australian Constitution. There have been many processes and much work completed. The one thing left to do is let the Australian people have their say. We call on political leaders to make immediate action to hold a referendum on a First Nations voice. The signing is online, and thank you to Bante Sujato for representing the ASA and signing the document, as well as being present for the book launch event, Statements from the Soul, which is linked to the Uluru Statement and Voice Referendum. And there is a YouTube address that you may visit to see that signing as well. Venerable Metaji, Secretary. The Venerable has worked diligently over the year to organise the committee and to record the meetings and provide the minutes. I thank him for taking the extra time to call me so as to keep me up to date with events. Venerable Metaji has taken the role of liaison with the Australian Charities and Not-for-Profits Commission in an effort to secure Buddhism's charitable status. I cannot do the Venerable justice in trying to highlight the amount of work and hours he has offered when working with government representatives and lawyers on behalf of Buddhist communities. Arjun Brahm, Treasurer. Arjun Brahm has been a constant in keeping on top of our finances and is our liaison office with the FABC. Most importantly, he is the leading light of the ASA, providing spiritual support and guidance. Public officer and RACS representative. Thank you, Venerable, for continuing on as our public officer. The Venerable has also put in many hours over the year as the ASA representative to the Religious Advisory Committee to the Services. The Venerable has provided comprehensive reports on the Buddhists who are progressing through the defence pathways that will provide spiritual care for service members, as well as assisting new applicants to navigate the system. Bhante Bodhidharma, Committee Member and ASA Web Administrator. The ASA website looks fantastic and works well. Thank you, Bhante Bodhidharma. I know a lot of work has gone into to get it up to scratch. And we'll miss you. The Venerable has also provided assistance over the year in the difficult visa applications for religious workers. The constant changes to the rules and systems appears to be never ending. So I thank the Venerable on behalf of those who have been able to use his knowledge in navigating what can be a frustrating and complicated process. Venerable Hojan Futin, Committee Member, Meaningful Ageing Representative and Sangha Support Circle Coordinator. Venerable Hojan Futin is our representative to Meaningful Ageing Australia, an organisation that focuses on older people and can provide a range of educational resources and support. The Venerable is also the coordinator of the Sangha Support Circle, an online space for Sangha of all traditions to share, listen and support one another. The support circle can be accessed from our website. Venerable Kantika Committee Member. The Venerable has been a valuable presence at our committee meetings over the year when availability and the internet allows. And we all know the internet doesn't allow a lot sometimes. Past and present committee have the best interests of our members at heart. We liaise, follow up and interact with various organisations. The Buddhist Council of New South Wales, the Federation of Australian Buddhist Councils, Australian Partnership of Religious Organisations, University of Adelaide for a study on Theravada Buddhists in Australia, University of Melbourne's Contemplative Studies Centre, New South Wales Religious Communities Forum, responding and engaging with state and federal parliaments and interfaith community events. And I would just like to point out that we are doing a lot of work with the FABC in raising the profile with Buddhism. So we're working hard together, and we thank Gawain Powell, who is here today. So it is fantastic that we can pool resources. The committee have worked hard to raise the profile of Buddhism in Australia, as well as to provide support to the monastic Sangha. This is along with the other numerous duties they perform in their own communities. Thank you for your commitment, everybody. Oh, does anybody have any questions? No? Oh, that's good. Okay.
Propose, second and accept.
Would somebody like to propose the chair's report?
I'll propose.
Would somebody like to second the chair's report? Oh, thank you, because it wasn't that bad, was it? And is it accepted by? Oh, thank you. I would like to now ask Agm as the Treasurer to present his report, please. Watch the step. Rattle on those.
Okay. So I'm in short. Very good, Venables. And I'd like to present the report, the financial report, which has to be for the financial year. So it's the 1st of January 2022 to the 31st of December 2022. And it's one of the easiest jobs of the ASA committee, because we don't get many donations, we don't have many outgoings either. So for the financial year of 2022, the donations, the earnings, the credit was a grand total of 0, a nice round number. And the payments, every year we are a body which has to lodge our trading summary with the New South Wales Fair Trading Board, whatever it's called, because that's where we're registered in New South Wales, even though we're a national body. And that was $48.21. We also, as Venerable Hodgin, is liaising with Meaningful Aging Australia. So we have an annual membership fee there of $110. And the other 2 fees were to do with our internet. So we can maintain a web page and we can maintain our domain name. So that was a Wix yearly fee, $392.94, and a domain name renewal for 3 years of $59.40. So in the year of 2022, we spent a total of $610.55 from the Australia Sangha Association account. We spent much more than that, but that was mostly sponsored by separate people because of their generosity. We said, oh, we can pay for that. But we actually paid $610 with no credit coming in. It's usually the case if there is some funds needed. I don't think it's that hard to get some donations to raise some funds for these things. But anyway, it meant that we started the year with $26,441.90, and we ended the year with $25,831.35. So we're still in a very strong financial position for an organization of our size. Thank you, Venerable Tikwamba.
So who would like to propose for the Treasurer's report? And Agm Brahms.
Venerable Tikwamba? Yeah, okay. Venerable.
And second? And all in agreement?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Agm.
Excellent. So I wish the Treasurer of the federal government had such an easy job.
Saga, can you just put up last year's Treasurer's report? So we have to display 2 of them. So it's just so we. So it's a technicality that with the Associations Act in New South Wales, you need to show the last 2 reports. So he speaks to one and asks for your agreement on that. So we did that. So we're just showing you quickly the one before. So we've met the requirement under the law. Thank you, Venerable.
So now I'd like to announce the dissolution of the old committee and the appointment of a scrutineer. And this is Aya Karunika.
Aya, if you'd like to come up.
you just declared.
Just, yeah, dissolved.
Okay.
the committee.
Okay, so I am supposed to, I've never done this before, so I don't know.
Let's
But,
do it. This is all good.
you can tell me if I didn't say anything that you need me to say. So I'm supposed to mention that the public officer appointed and approved by the previous ASA committee was Venerable Bon Hyun Sunim. Venerable has agreed to nominate again. As previously agreed. Yeah. As previously agreed at the 2015 AGM, there is to be a distribution of traditions amongst the committee members. As previously agreed, there is to be gender equity on the committee and if possible on the executive. Official address of the SA at this time is 222 Bong Bong Road, Mittagong, New South Wales, confirmed for 2023 to 2024. And then all committee is dissolved and scrutiny officers thank to the previous committee and declares the committee open for election. And nominations for office bearers, chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer, and committee nominations. Further nominations can be called for if insufficient nominations prior to the AGM. If more than one person nominates for any office, there must be an election. Election can be through polling on Zoom as determined by the rules or decided by the chair. And also I wish to thank the departing committee. Yeah. Then new committee for 2023 is chairperson Venerable Tenpa
Yeah, that'll do, yeah.
Tenpa
Yeah.
Bejanki Dunim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Nominated by Venerable Tupten Choki and Venerable Metaji. Chair. And then Vice Chair, Venerable Tupten Choki, nominated by Venerable Tenpa Bijanki Dui and Venerable Metaji. Treasurer Ajahn Brahm, nominated by Ajahn Brahmali and Venerable Metaji. And the secretary's position is vacant.
We need a secretary. Come on, people, put your hand up.
Venerable Karunika.
I have a lot of work this year, so I'll be able to do that.
Okay, only joking, Venerable.
Yes, Venerable Sumira?
Yeah, no, that's all good. Yes, I. I'll
Okay, so-
propose it, yes. Yep, yeah,
Okay.
we're all in agreement. Yes. Aye.
Is there anybody else who would like to be the secretary? Just checking, I'm supposed to check. No? Okay. Then there is 6 positions for ordinary member and so Reverend Iluka Vate Dhammaratana nominated by Venerable Metaji and Venerable Vosaga.
Is he here? Okay, oh,
yeah.
sorry.
And then Suvira Bhikkhuni nominated by Venerable Metaji and Kantika Bhikkhuni. So, yeah,
No,
because
no,
she's the
yeah, yeah,
secretary, yeah.
yeah.
So, okay. Venerable Metaji nominated by Ajahn Brahm and Ajahn Brahmali. Venerable Yeshi Wangamo nominated by Venerable Tugden Choki and Venerable Metaji. And Venerable Hojun Futen nominated by Venerable Metaji and Ajahn Brahm. Bante Bodhidharma nominated by Venerable Metaji and Ajahn. Is there any more nominations? Because there's one position available for this. So there is,
It seems like a good spread, actually. Reasonable. Yep.
I don't mind being a committee member. Is helpful. Is it possible or not? Okay.
Because
Somebody. Yeah. Okay.
and it's accepted. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Lakers, once you open your mouth, that's it.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, the whole thing from chairperson again. All right. So chairperson is Venerable Tempa Benjoki Dumi, nominated by Venerable Thupten Choki and seconded by. Sorry?
No. Have been filled.
Okay, so all of the positions have been accepted. That's it.
Yep.
Okay.
One, two. I think we've got 3 female Tibetan monastics. Hoju Futon, who is other Zen, I think, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's 4 or 5 Theravadins. It's not too bad, actually. Male and female, it's pretty good. Yep. So.
Is everybody else happy with the election? It's an important thing to get right. So if you want to make any points, we best do it now before we move on. Ajahn Brahm, are you happy with that? Yeah. Thanks. Okay. Any other business? Back to you.
No other business? No. There are other roles in the ASA. So do we have a nomination for a web administrator, please? Oh, look, and he's even got his hand up. Okay. I propose Venerable Vasaka. Did I say that properly? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, he had his hand up. So. Can I have a seconder, please? Second. All in agreement? Thank you. Nominations for a communications coordinator, please.
I'll put my hand up.
Lovely. I propose Venerable Metaji. Who would like to second that, please? And all in favour? Thank you. What's that? Oh, yep. So there is a late report by Venerable Bomhyam Suni, please. I've got here, there's a report on Religious Advisory Committee to Defence.
Yeah, please, would you like to come up or would you like me to bring the mic down there?
Isn't this just a report?
So we should take the report.
Look, I'll just, if I give you these slides, you can put up, and I'll just do a quick rundown. Stick, yes. I'm not sure I put it, oh, here it is, I think. And so it says, I think it says, idea for access. Do you want me to come up there? I'm happy here.
Yes, please.
Come up there. Hello.
But please stay there if you'd like.
That's all right?
Yes, sorry,
Thank you.
beg your pardon.
Okay. So this is actually, for those of you who haven't had any background to this before, this project has been kind of operational now since I came into the space in 2012. But in fact, nothing much happened for a few years. It was a holding space. In early 2019, the Multi-Faith Religious Advisory Committee was instituted. And so if you just move the, and I can't see from there, so I am going to have to come
Please come up here.
closer. I'm sorry about that. I didn't know whether you were going to want me to do something formally or not. Okay, so on the Religious Advisory Committee, there are 10 members. The Religious Advisory Committee is a committee that is appointed through Parliament, and it is a semi-attached committee to Defence. So the 10 members, so it's traditionally been all Christian and the various Christian denominations. In 2019, it brought in 4 new members. There was a Jewish member who had been appointed after the Second World War, which was more historical reason. So at the moment, there's 5 Christians on the committee, representing Catholic, Anglican, Protestant, Uniting and Presbyterian. And then there's 1 Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Muslim. And so just some simple orientation to the responsibilities. So one of the things that members do is provide religious support and advice to Defence Command as required, provide a link between religious institutions and Defence, advise and assist Defence with worship, religious education, pastoral ministry. And one of the biggest things is really to bring interested people into the recruitment pathway for on-the-ground chaplains in Defence. And that's been a very slow process, still continues to be slow, but in the last few months, we've had, now there are 5 Buddhists, and that sounds like a small number, but I think actually our numbers are higher than the other. So there has been a really quite a good interest among Buddhists, and there are another 6 people in the recruitment pipeline and some really good people coming through, very mature and a lot of background in Buddhism, but also in other skill areas, psychotherapy and counselling and a whole range of backgrounds. So if you just go quickly to the next. So this is just simple. And I don't know that my dots represent the actual locations on the map, but 4 of the current people are in the Queensland area, 4 in Western Australia, 1 in Canberra and 1 in Sydney. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 2 trainees currently, and actually 3 people who've come into full-time or actually, onboarded into Defence. Navy, Army, we've got 1 trainee in Air Force who's currently in, he's come through, he's actually an Air Force officer, he's been, and he's been transitioning over to chaplaincy for some time, and he'll come back to Sydney shortly and do a little bit more training, then he'll come into full-time chaplaincy. We've had 2, we now have 3 women interested, and it's not easy to get women are less interested really. put their hand up for all the reasons. I mean, I think, you know, anyone putting their hands up, we really appreciate it. But again, can you move the slide? Yeah. So just a couple of things that I'd just point to, which is just recent things. So there's been a new Air Force Director General of Chaplaincy come on board, and that's been a really, it's a bit of a breakthrough for a number of reasons. The person I was telling you about who was in Malaysia, the Air Force officer, the previous DG chaplain of the Air Force had said he didn't want any Buddhists in that force. And so that particular candidate has been waiting for a long time really to come into the recruitment. This new Air Force chaplain, Director General, has been, you know, he's really come in with a very enlightened view about chaplaincy, and is making some, you know, some big changes. In defence, there's two bodies. There's the Defence, you know, Australian Defence Force, and then there's a contracted organisation called Defence Force Recruiting. And so that's where a lot of recruits, well, all recruits come through there in some way or another. And they're actually, you know, really seeking opportunities to, you know, to do some promotion in the communities. So I have actually given them contacts for New South Wales Buddhist Council and Victoria and Queensland, which are really the biggest ones that are managing chaplains. So I was recently, last week actually, down in Canberra at an Air Force symposium, chaplain symposium, as a speaker. And, you know, the chaplains, so this is when all chaplains in the Air Force come together annually for a few days. And so I had a day with them, and, you know, the conversations were really much more enlightened. They're moving, you know, they're moving more into you know, seeing the need to be responsive to the, you know, the spiritual needs of, spiritual well-being needs of people, rather than promoting a religious agenda. So that was, it was very, you know, I was very happy to see that. And we're having next week, I'm down here again, and then Bar, who's hosting today, is also hosting a meeting, you know, just a visit from the Religious Advisory Committee members to this temple, and that's something I'm very grateful Tikron Bar has agreed to host. Just over the next one. Yeah, so look, something that I'm working on with quite a lot of other people at the moment is you know, it's been really, it's been difficult for us to, you know, in all sorts of areas of you know, of pastoral care, chaplaincy, all the different sectors. It's been difficult for us to bring people into the mix and into hospitals and various places. So there are some of us who are exploring an alternative pathway to clinical pastoral education, which has been the main pathway and will continue to be, but it's been very restricted in what it can offer to people from other faith traditions. So we're in communication at the moment about a potentially pathway coming into the universities, and that will then open the opportunity up for people of all faiths and no faiths to come into that space. And that we're talking with the Contemplative Studies Centre, Melbourne University, Nicholas, and so I think he's going to be here this afternoon actually. So he's very interested to perhaps bring on a graduate, grad dip or grad cert, and then Western Sydney University exploring the possibility of bringing an undergraduate. So that'll make a big difference, but it's not enough, because if people are doing that program, they need to have a professional pathway. So we're also working on, actually establishing an industry body that people can be opted through. So that's the main thing at the moment. And just turn around, I don't know if there's any more or not. Next slide. Oh, sorry, that's a copy. Keep going. So this is just to give you a little bit of, this is, so this is the insignia that ASA decided they want to use in the space of the Defence Buddhist chaplains. And so it varies in colour according to each service. We would have liked to have seen it as the brown, but the Navy, I think, have gone for a grey, blue, but we've still got the Dharma well. Just the next slide. So what the Army is requesting at the moment, they're requesting suggestions about images that they can put on all sorts of, things like, I don't know, all these places you put logos and stuff. And so what they've come up with is suggestions: water, dove, candlelight, as generic images, then a book or scroll. I personally find a number of those images to be more related to the Christian. And so I'd like to see us look for a more universal image that can kind of speak for all the different faith traditions. But that's where we're at the moment. And so we're still in the discussion space. So if anyone's got any really, got an idea about what sort of image we can use, please speak up. One suggestion that's been made by someone is, let's look at some native flower trees, something that's native to Australia. So that's another possibility. But, I guess it's hard to find agreement around something like that. People are very attached to their own icons, but it is an opportunity for us to make some change. Just one more. If you want to just, who's moving that on? Okay. So what we were asked to do, each member of the Religious Advisory Committee was asked to respond to the Australian Defence Force values. These are their values. And I won't take time now, but what I have included in the next few slides is the response that I put together for the Buddhist response. So if you're interested, perhaps that can go up on the ASA website, and you can have a look at that. So that's all from me. Thank you. Is there any questions? Did anyone want to ask anything or make any comment? No? Okay. I have to get closer. I'm deaf as well as. Here you are.
Yeah, so Sunam, you mentioned about getting those pathways up with the universities, and you mentioned the University of Melbourne, Contemplative Studies Centre, University of Western Sydney, and I think another institution that I've forgotten. I was wondering, the University of Queensland has Australia's largest religious studies program, and I spoke to Adam, who's discipline convener for that program, a little while ago, and he was saying that employability is a big issue for their graduates at the moment. Would the University of Queensland also be a possible potential partner?
Yes. At the moment, we're really planning a big introductory meeting to just start to discuss. So there are a number of academics involved in that, but yes, if you give me the contact, then certainly, because I'm aware that Queensland is more engaged in the whole pastoral care area than some of the other states. So, yeah, thank you. All right, thank you. Nothing else?
Member of Sangha, but not a.
Yeah, please.
I'm from Adelaide, from Tibetan Buddhist Institute and Buddha House. But in South Australia, they've opened up disaster and recovery ministry chaplaincy training from Christians to other faiths. And the first uptake has been Buddhists. We've now got 3 Buddhists and some a Jew and a few others. And I'm just wondering, given that the Defence Force is now being brought in as climate change takes place and we're having more fires and floods and disasters, I'm just wondering if there's a sort of a link, a beneficial link that can be made between DRM and the chaplaincy you're doing with the first responders in the Defence Force.
I think you'll find that the Defence is pulling way out of that role. Recently, because of the change in the defence space, with all sorts of kind of plans happening now to militarize, and I think they're talking about basically pulling out of a lot of that emergency support, because it takes up a lot of the resources. So I mean, that's just what I hear on the grapevine, but I guess that will become more clear. But I could inquire and just see whether there's any maybe local defence people who could, would be interested to become involved. Yeah, we can talk about that in later. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Sorry. Temper. Well, Chuck is putting you in the limelight. Just about the emergency scenes.
Oh, really? I'm a chaplain with the Emergency Services Agency. If you want to talk to me about that, you can see me a bit later on, maybe lunchtime. Okay, all good. Thank you. Is this one on? Yeah. Thank you. Is there any other business or questions from the floor, please? You can ask now. No? Okay, then I declare the AGM is closed, and the next AGM will be on a date and venue to be advised. What's the time?
Could somebody read out the time for me, please? I don't know.
Sorry? So I declare this meeting closed 11th of May 2023 at 10:15. Thank you, everybody.